started.
Yes, we'll look into that.
I had it started, it wouldn't start.
Okay. Well, on those now, we're ringside Liverpool Motorsports, live from Las Vegas. Welcome everybody to the show. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. Guests
We
here
do?
tonight. Yeah.
We do?
Mr. Rob Street from Rob Street Racing Photography is here with us tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me out to the show.
I didn't invite you.
You didn't come to watch the race.
We might have a boxing match. for
Yeah, I got
tonight.
beef with
Just-
that too.
Just as good as McGregor and
Almost.
Hey,
Mayweather.
I did get a picture of you that I already put on Instagram with the other two race cars. I'll show it to you.
Yeah. Well, these guys hate me. I'm gonna start right now. Okay, they
Uh-oh.
hate me. All right, I tell you, everybody hates me. My
Hey.
wife hates me. Okay, Gary.
Well, we're
and-
understanding why your wife hates you after 27 years.
29.
No, I'm sorry, 29.
29. They hate me. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because I woke up this morning and I'm sitting out back. 5:30. I'm having my coffee, my cigarette, and my wife pops her head out the back door. Says, "Happy birthday, honey." Oh, why? Thank you very much. 5 minutes go by. She pops her head. I think it's time for your colonoscopy too. This is, and maybe we should make an appointment with the proctologist. This is the way my day started.
Now wait a minute.
Okay. Okay, this is the way it started. All right. Went through the day. All right. These guys hate me. I'm telling you. All right. When I'm not here, they book Hannah Rickett. Oh, you see? They go. They go out of the way and they book Hannah Rickett. Here it is, my birthday. No, they couldn't get Danica Patrick. They couldn't get Alex DeJoria, or Leia Pritchett, or Angel Savoy, or even the Force girls, Ashley, Brittany, or Courtney.
They
No,
didn't return my phone call.
who do they get on my birthday to bring in? You, Rob Street.
It's almost just as good, ain't it?
Mr. Uber
This explains
himself.
a lot because my oldest daughter Haley's birthday's today. And I wish her
Really?
a happy 19th birthday. Now this
Well-
explains her attitude in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening.
No, all kidding aside, Rob, you know, if anybody doesn't, I'm going to voice my opinion, anybody who doesn't know Rob Street, listen to the show. This is one of the nicest guys who I have met in a long time out at the Bull Ring. And if you're not on Duo Street Publishing or looking at his photos, all right, on Facebook, he has got one of the most tremendous eyes for racing photography that I've ever seen.
Thank you.
All right, and I am honored that you're here because there's a couple firsts.
Happy birthday to you.
Hey,
Oh, happy birthday.
There's a cut into your daughter. Okay, first of all, Rob's a great guy and a great family man. Okay, how your wife puts up with you, I don't know, but you have two lovely daughters. All right, one, this is the first time we've had a photographer on our show.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Privileged here.
That we know of.
Okay.
And there might be somebody out there that does it on the side.
No, I've come across a lot of photographers. And Gary knows, you know, Gary even had one shot his wedding, you know, Curtis Pilgrim, all right, this girl that was out there, you know, a lot of tremendous photographers. I got to give kudos to Rob. I mean, his eye and his photography is absolutely fantastic. You've got to go on Duo Street Publishing
And Rob
watch-
Street Racing Photography.
and
Most
Rob
of the
Street
photos
Racing
from the bull ring-
Photography.
Yes, I have it there.
He's-
Both Instagram and Facebook.
He's got a fantastic eye Okay. Do you shoot anything else?
Not really.
Hold on. This is why we don't have Hannah on, because he is in awe having you on here. Can you imagine with Hannah? Now,
I had to break his shoe.
hosting tonight, along with myself, the one and only JJ Nunn.
I had to get that
And
off my
also,
chest.
the man on a mission, Gary Wyatt. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Hey, great show. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Thank you.
They hate me. They hate me.
Happy birthday, Jake.
Thank you.
I'm glad you made it to 70.
Close.
Close.
No, what are you, 59?
Close.
58?
Yep. 58.
The AARP letters will be coming in the mail.
Oh no, my brother started that when I was 53. He started sending my name and emailing.
Yeah.
Okay. But
No,
go
no.
ahead, I'll give it Mike, I'll give you show back. I won't say anything else after this. And well, there is
I
a
just want to
second.
introduce us first, you know. Hey.
There is a second that we broke. Okay, not only the first time we had a photographer, but this is the first time we've had a bandolero driver.
I'm better at making people look like they're going fast than going fast. But I did give Chuck DiCavera a huge thank you for building that car around me. I did give him a heart attack when I almost hit the wall in turn 4 on Friday night, and then as I saved it and came back across at the corner of my eye, I see him giving me the Fred Sanford, I'm having a heart attack look. And I was going, I saved it. That's good. As my hands were shaking down the thing.
You saved it,
Okay.
I
and
saved
then
it.
you saved it, and then you beat poor Chloe Lynch in that race.
I
The
beat
first
somebody.
time this little girl was racing out there, you beat up on her. He finished 7th, she finished 8th.
Now, this one, the Friday night race?
The Friday night race, I finished. I didn't know I was racing Friday night.
How many kids
You thought you were practicing? You guys made a race.
I was sitting with Matt Cunningham and Camden Larson and going, hey, that was fun. And all of a sudden I hear over the announcer qualifying in 15 minutes, or actually 5 minutes. And I went, what?
Wait, what's going on?
And they go, yeah, we're racing tonight. And then I ran back over to Chuck, and Chuck's going, where the hell have you been? And I'm like, I thought we were just practicing.
I feel Chuck. Believe me, I gotta chase my crew around too to where they're at. So I understand what Chuck is going
And to
through.
top it off, I have his golf cart.
Oh, a bandolero driver gets a golf cart.
Oh,
Holy
okay.
cow. Hey Chuck, do you need any more bandolero drivers? What's going on
And
out
CJ,
there?
now you got something to complain about to Gary. Where's your golf
And
cart?
I want to give a shout out to those bandolero drivers. They are amazing. I said, okay, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to hold my line. I'm going to follow you. I followed for about 14 seconds and they went around the corner. I guess I'll follow when they catch back up.
I was
That's
curious.
when they go to lap you.
Yeah, exactly.
I was curious.
Well, Camden did.
On
Camden.
Friday night, how many kids
I think
did you
Ethan
beat
did
up
too.
on?
Right.
On Friday
Ethan
night.
and Camden and Matt, they all beat up on me, but we had a blast. I just told them, because I didn't want to mess with them. They were going for championships out there, and I was like, I'm going to hold my line. You figure out where my line is, I think it is, and you can go around me, and I won't try to, into it. So I remember, I saw Camden go by, I saw white flash, and so I looked in there, I looked in the side mirror, and I see Ethan coming up, DiCavera coming up on me. I said, now inside, I won't turn down on you. But I had a blast.
What was your fastest time?
21 seconds. So my first practice was 22. And then I was in practice, and then as far as I know, it was 21, and that was the qualifying.
All right.
And what was it Saturday night?
Hold on. I think I was about to say, man, I got better.
Hold on. Let's start by
Mike,
saying,
are you
hey,
on the show tonight?
no, hold on. I want to say tonight we've got Rob Street from Rob Street Racing Photography. Like JJ said, first time we had a photography studio.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about you for a minute, and then we'll build up to
Okay.
let's build up to the bandoleros, because a lot of people are wondering what the heck.
Well,
They might even know why you're even in a bandolero, so let's find that out in a few.
Well,
Tell us a little bit about yourself here first. Rob Street, you do photography.
yep, I did it for
Everybody, if they want to see a smiling face, they want to go see
Oh, they can
see Rob. You're gonna see a smiling face, a friendly face out there.
You'll see me rolling through the pits on that little pit scooter once I learned that, man, it takes like 15 minutes to walk across the
So,
pits over there.
now you've done racing photography before you've even been to the bull ring before.
Yes.
Am I correct? So,
Yes.
So how long have you been doing photography?
2013, I did the truck race. The way I got started is my uncle was a retired sports writer, and he was with the Oakland A's in the early 70s when they won all the championships, and then he went to San Francisco 49ers, and then he went to the Oakland Raiders, all for the San Jose Mercury News, and I kind of, growing up in San Diego, I followed him the best I could pre-internet, on his articles that would be in sporting news. They'd have a little blurb on there.
So you got a little taste of big time
big time photography. So when the Raiders would come to town, I could go to the hotel and with my Charger, right, yellow Charger, show up at the Raiders thing, and actually John.
How old were you at the time?
This is 1980, so I was like 10 years old.
1980, were you?
When John Matuzak and Lyle
JJ was like what, 50 in the 80s? Hey, I just
now you know why I hate these
guys.
guys.
Let me start off by saying we hated him.
Well,
I was
okay,
20.
so
I was
so you were-
21.
I tried to get into the Raiders hotel.
That's cool.
And
Young.
I recognized, it was Lyle Alzado and John Matuzak, and they said,
Oh,
"You're not
yeah.
coming in here with that shirt." And I wore a compliment.
You're right.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure, you're in my city now."
Yeah.
And that didn't work too well, so they picked me up and tried to shake the shirt off me upside down.
No.
And I'm sure my dad has a picture of that somewhere.
That's funny.
But it was funny because I didn't really recognize John Matuzak from the Raiders as much as I recognized him from Caveman. Remember, he was the bad guy in Caveman.
No, I didn't know that.
If you
No
ever see
kidding.
that,
I'll have to
he's
look
that-
check
y'all
that
look
out. That's
He was
interesting.
hilarious. He was hilarious. So throughout there, so as I got up in my 30s and started having kids myself, my uncle retired, and I was asking him. I said, "Well, when did you go to the 49ers?" And why? Because I knew his love was baseball. And so he being a sports writer, Duke just sent me back. Oh, my kid was born. He sent me back an article basically on what steps happened and why he went to the 49ers, and traveling with the baseball is really intense. So football only 60
You haven't done any photography at that point?
No, I haven't done any
Wow.
photography at that point.
Not
so
even a
then,
thought in your mind?
And then I did a book with him. So what we did
Oh,
is
wow.
I kept asking him questions. Okay, hey, what year did you do this? What year did you do this? So we published a book together, and we started Duo Street Publishing. And then Major League Baseball bought the book, and when we put it on their site, that's when we started.
Now you started a company as
As Duo Two Streets.
Two Streets. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there is a website, Duo
There's
Street.
Duo Street Publishing,
Publishing.
and then and that's the company that he's licensed under.
Okay.
And Rob Street Racing Photography is a subsidiary of Duo Street.
Racing.
So got
that's
my
where the Duo
credentials.
Street. That's cool. I
That's
didn't know
where
that
that
where
came
the
from.
Duo Street comes from.
And so what do we? And then I said, well, why don't you go try and go do the cup race? I'm August, that's camera. I take pictures from racing.
And why did he
I got?
suggest?
Well, it's a professional and you get credentials and see if I can get credentials and do all the work for it. And so they got me credentialed for the truck race up in 2013. And I went up there and I had my trunk full of battery packs and food and all this, and I went up in the media center. That's where I met Cindy Clark. And she said, "Okay, you can drink all that and drink your food." And I went, "I'm hooked."
Yeah.
So then I did the cup races. Yeah, then I did the cup races. And then I went down.
Now, before you, at that time you went up there, did you have equipment?
Yeah, actually, I
body
had.
equipment. I mean, with
I
that
had
intention.
at the time I still had a rudder, just a family camera that we had. And when I went up there and I took the picture, and actually one of my pictures is the one of Steve Burns that ended up in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, along with it's in the video. I'm trying to think of the guy's name because he said it's a fight. I'm trying to think about the sort of NASCAR.
JJ would be the one to know.
Bernie,
He's the information man.
he said it's a fight between Bob Nelson and
Howard Cosell.
We're talking in 2013, yeah.
Yeah, no, but he was 79 he did that, but then
Nice.
I was just watching the tribute to his life on Steve Burns, and my picture made that.
Oh, wow.
thing, and I was like,
And that was your
that's
first
amazing.
real
That was my first real
big published
national
photo.
and I got a bunch of messages from people that knew the picture that sending me, hey, I saw your picture on that.
Did you had to pen yourself on the back?
Then I got a tweet. I got a tweet from Daryl Waltrip. Can you send? He said,
No
"Can you
way."
take that?" He said, "Can you send that to me, son?" And gave me his address, and then I said, "Sure." And about 15 minutes later, he said, "Ah, forget it. It's just sent to my house." So I sent it to my house.
Wow. Were you thinking, wow, this is something
Yeah,
else?
this is.
man.
Well, I was
this is
amazed
what
on
I'm-
how family oriented even the cup races are. And everybody was welcoming, no matter what you were. It was, whether you had Steve Richards from MRN, or Farms Racing, and he's been really nice. So whenever we hear his call, he's Mr. Las Vegas. He knows I'm
Vegas
there.
guy.
And so I'm always trying to get a picture of him.
That's cool.
And what I do is I try to get the people. And so when I'm out there, everybody gets pictures of the cars, and I do get pictures of the cars and stuff. But I want people. I want somebody to have a picture
So-
20 years from now.
So that first big photo that you had kind of gave you
That
a
one-
path to look at.
to look at, and gave me
photos.
my name out there. That luckily my last name is Street, so they actually worked for them Street Racing, and it got my name out there in the media center, and people would know who I am.
And this was your first taste of auto racing. Was in the big time NASCAR.
It was in the big time as photography. I did go to Cajon Speedway. Oh, Ken Squire. Thank you, JJ.
Ken Squire.
Ken Squire.
It was either Ken Squire or Pat Summerall.
Yeah, and that
Back
video,
then.
I still have it. It's the one that
Yeah.
actually they edited it down to when they inducted Steve Burns into the Hall of Fame. They edited about 3 minutes off of the full video, and my picture was still in. So along with
Claim to fame.
Yeah,
That's
a big
huge.
deal.
That's big feather in your cap.
And then
But you said you had been to Cajon Speedway?
I've been to Cajon
Before-
Speedway as
before
a
they-
kid. My
they
parents
closed
lived right at the street.
So you had a taste of
I had a taste of the
racing
smaller,
Is that where you're
like
from?
a bull ring.
Is-
Yeah, I'm from
Cajon?
Cajon.
Cajon?
Yeah, right there in Fletcher Hills. So I had a little bit of taste, but that's that depends what your parents want to do. Are we gonna go there, or are we gonna let it go?
So they weren't like big time
No.
into racing. It was just
No.
one of those things. Hey, instead of the movies tonight, we're going to go to Cajon Speedway,
Exactly.
watch some Saturday night
Exactly.
racing.
Exactly. And half the time they wouldn't even go with us. They were like, "Oh, here, this is the
This is mom and dad's night out. Here, go watch the races.
This is
You
it.
go to the
This is
races.
like this day. It was exactly. We'll drop you off.
Do you
here.
remember anything of those races?
I remember cars, and I remember the crash at River.
They had a
I
very-
love the crash at
They
River.
had the train races there as well.
Oh, did they have the train? Yeah. I just remember, I wish they did the crashing cars here in Vegas. Just because,
Well, these guys here, they've done demolition derbies. and
Oh, I
stuff
know.
like
I
that.
got them on film.
Right, but but it's hard to get, I guess, that West Coast thing
Yeah.
going here at least.
Yeah,
locally.
and I do remember there was a guy, I can't think of his name either, but he was made of, it was like gummy. He was in the, yeah, it was a fan, but I guess he was there all the time, and it was kind of famous down
You see
there.
a lot of Gumbies that are
Yeah,
local
and he could
tracks.
make his arms go back in his
That's funny.
leg behind his head. And I just, as a kid, I remember that.
Hey, since July in Las Vegas, we got a lot of guppies
A lot of guppies.
running around.
Well, that's cool, but you've been that's that kind of.
Yeah.
But you never thought at that time. How old were you then? Maybe.
Oh, I was on.
From teens or.
Oh, I had 7 up to through my teens.
Oh,
I think the Cone Speedway was still open when I moved to.
Yeah, 'cause that's- yeah, obviously.
I think they closed in about 2000.
Did you live close?
Yeah, literally across the
By the
street,
airport.
right next to the airport. My parents still live there, so my parents are still in Fletcher Hills. So you can actually see the outline of the track where it was. Just on
No.
the school buses.
Sad to see.
And that's one of the reasons why. And so what happened is I did the cup races and I met the people and everything, and then I went out and I met Candy Barker, and I didn't know who Candy Barker
What year was this?
This is, I think, it was either the end of 14 or beginning of 15 when I went out there and met Kaylee, and I made Ron get me a picture, and it's kind of a joke to this day, is to get Ron Barker in a picture because he hates it. And I tell him, I said, I'll never publish a bad picture, and I have. And I think actually one of his Father's Day gifts this year was a picture I took I was on the inside of the track and I had a long lens, and her, Caitlin and her dad were just sitting up where you guys watch the race from. Like, had my long lens on, just a quick picture, and she, I think her mom blew it up and made it. That's the kind of thing that I do. I mean, I've done it for all of you guys.
So you're obviously a fairly new photographer then. I mean, you're not, but you just have a knack for it.
That's what
You have an eye
JJ says.
for it.
Yeah, JJ says that I got a knack for
Right.
it.
Yes, he does.
I mean,
He's got a
some
special
people that
eye.
takes some of the pictures that he takes
Yeah.
that have been doing it their whole life, and here it is. You're
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, a big inspiration for me was Earl Stubbs, and I didn't know. I actually had some pictures up, that Earl Stubbs took. I didn't know who he was at the time, and that's how I met a lot of people that Benny Parsons' wife, because it was a picture that Earl took of Benny Parsons when he won in Ontario back in 1980 or whatever, and then they kind of told me who was all in the pictures, and I'm always asking questions because that's what I'm interested in. There's so many stories at the bull ring. I'm just learning about Gary Cliff. Like I didn't know he knew Earl, until I was walking up and I had made contact with Earl. Didn't know that he came out to the bull ring, and something came up. I think it was just on Facebook, and I saw that he had a picture out there. I said, "Oh, he's out there. I'll keep my eye out for him." And I was walking up from I come up from the field sometimes between races, and I'll come up up the fence right up underneath the flag stand. And I look and I go, and I walked up to him and I sat down next to him. I said, "You didn't have to be Earl Stubbs. What are you doing?" He said, "You didn't have to be Rob Street."
You're like,
"What?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been watching you." And that was the opening. That was opening day this year.
Wow.
And I saw he was with his grandson, and I said, "I'd love to get a picture of your grandson from him on." And like I always do, because I'm not afraid to move people. Better angle is to have the truck behind him. So he has music chairs, so I feel him around there, right? And I had his grandson stand next to him and took that picture. And that's the picture that Gary Cliff and his wife made of those memorial. And that's the
Stickers.
pictures. So those are the kind of things that I'm glad I would have been disappointed with myself if I had missed that. And there's this stuff that I miss out there because I don't do it, so but that's what I love about going to the bull ring. So I met Kaylee, and so the next race I brought my daughter. I brought one that we met. I brought Caitlin and Megan to the race, and to actually meet Kaylee. She took a picture of Kaylee and did the thing, and she had a little reporter's book, and she's standing next to the bandits, it's a little car, and she was talking to the kids that race the cars, and kind of thinking, Lexi Dresser. And I'm thinking, my daughter she couldn't do all those bandits anymore, I'm like, it's no chance. And then, so when she crashed this last weekend, I was just pulling into from the Bando race, and I see there's a red flag out there, and somebody said, I said, what number? Because I need Bando's reps. They said, Lexi, you see an ambulance. And so the ambulance goes through, so I hopped out of the Bando, and I told Chuck, I said, I'll be back, I'm going to go see how Lexi and everybody is. So I went over there, and I went into her, she's got like this icy, I'm fine.
Nothing to worry about. Yeah, that's what's good about kids.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Dad's got to fix it.
So, have your kids expressed any interest in
No.
racing since they've been
No.
to the track with you at all?
No.
They're smart ones,
They're-
right?
yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah, my youngest is just into reading. Everything's got to be science. Just she's very.
That's good.
intellectual.
Reading is great.
Reading, she reads all the time.
Reading is
She's
great.
She's reading Harry Potter. And she's 9.
Wow.
She just turned 9.
That's
She's been reading books. I think she's on the second Harry Potter.
Yep.
But they're their own people.
They have their own personalities, their own
Exactly.
characters.
Exactly.
Nice. That's cool.
And but when I go out there, so the bull ring, what happened with the bull ring is like I think I came out and I started coming out, so I started walking around the pits. I came over to you guys on the far end and introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm out here to get pictures of the people. I take pictures of cars and everything. I think I took a picture of you guys with your cars, and
Yep.
I make sure that's more important to me than getting on the track. Then I think I got you that you spun out, everybody had spun out.
That sounds like
everybody was going off
sounds
the way,
like
so those are my
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you had a shot. I think three of our 4 team members are facing the other way.
Right. Oh, that's that picture.
I
Right?
said,
It was a spin out night.
Yeah, I
I was
think I
like-
printed that for you.
Yeah. So, because when you, Gary and JJ, when did you guys get back to the bull ring? You guys were on about the same time.
About the same time, see, I didn't really-
Yeah, because they were racing. They used to race the bull ring and then left, and then went
That's what they were
up
saying,
for a little
yeah.
while, so you kind of caught them as they
came
returned.
back. Yeah,
so
exactly.
good timing. You know?
Yeah, and I love the fact that like the 33 car is it's such a photogenic car. The red, white, and blue, and the crinkles, and all that's very photogenic. The 65 car was really good this year. I haven't seen it out there, but I'm waiting for that one to get back. I actually got a picture of that.
It's being an exorcism being performed on it, so it should be back out right after.
Yeah.
And then I take it to the crusher, you could
Yeah.
photographer that.
Exactly. But just the different people, like I haven't even.
So at that point, you just kind of walk around,
Yeah,
introduce
just
yourself.
introduced myself, and then I went through and people got to know me a little bit. Like Justin Griffith, I gotta give a shout out to Justin. I know you guys call him, Princess or whatever. But,
No, he's Patrick.
oh, it's Patrick.
I don't know what that means. So
Well,
that's
he
outside
was
of my realm.
instrumental. He was instrumental in. I would take a picture.
That was me.
I would take a picture, and I would just in comments I put Justin, and Justin would make sure that person found that picture,
Oh,
and then more
that's cool.
people would find it, and then later on, as I got to know people, I'm still terrible with names, so I
And
always have
Justin
to.
knows
And
just about everybody out
just
there.
about
Yeah.
everybody out there. And the other thing that I really enjoy is the fact that the competition out there, it could be a week, and somebody can hate each other, they can wreck each other on the track, and then they're mad as hell, and then I come back and one guy's working on the other guy's car.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we got over that. But if you're not out there racing together, who's gonna race? So that's my thing is come speedway closed, and so I don't want the goal to be closed. So I want to do what I can to be out there to get the pictures, to get the memories, to get the people. So when you're looking back and say you got a Camden Larson out there, he's
Up until
mean
the
or
kid,
something.
right?
Yep, he's having a kid, and he's gonna look back, even if he is racing later on.
Right.
He's gonna have kids someday and say, "Oh, this is your parents."
That's
I know that because I've lived enough years to. I wish that I had some more pictures of me.
How'd you end up in Vegas? I mean, what made you move to Vegas?
Well, I was in San Diego, and a friend of mine bought mailbox accessories at the time. He managed one.
Oh, up here locally.
Up there locally, and did that for a number of years. And then, of course, his father passed away. So after that, we kind of did a job and things like that.
Where was that mailbox accessories located?
Yeah, the two that I had, one was in Henderson and one was on Desert Inn. Now, that's where I met Evil Knievel.
No way. Are you serious?
Oh, it was. I got that story. Okay, Evil. I guess we used to hang out at the Desert Inn, the Inn Zone bar.
Inn Zone.
Okay, when I guess he lived in Florida, he was up there in age, and so I was working a Saturday by myself. Somebody showed up. I was real busy for a second, and I had 7, 8 people in there helping him out, get him through. He walks in, he's real quiet, and you see he had a FedEx in his hand. I knew FedEx for Vegas. I said, I'll make sure it gets out. I didn't know it was even me. So it gets all done. I get all the people out of there, and he walks up and he says, "Oh, you got through everybody real quick." And I said, "Yeah, I got the college football game."
Incentives.
So he's going, and then he says, "I need a overnight or whatever." So just instinctively asked for his ID. So I'm looking down and I'm writing on the back, and it says Evil Knievel. It doesn't say Robert. It doesn't say Robert. It says Evil Knievel. And he was watching me look at it, and I looked at it. He's serious. And so he got me a T-shirt, and
That's cool.
he was in there about 2 years. I knew him, and he wasn't in there every week, but he was in there. I'd say about 10 times over the next 2 years. And when he came in, he was there for a while. He'd hang out and talk and just tell old stories and things like that before he moved.
What are the chances?
I know.
What are the chances?
What are the
exactly?
chances?
You just
And I got the
a
T-shirt.
Star magnet to you, right?
Yeah,
I mean, what the hell?
exactly.
Good luck. Let's throw a rub
And he-
Rob for good luck
And
here.
what he said is he really liked the fact that I beat him. Just the fact that it didn't matter. I didn't
Right.
treat him as superstar.
Any different.
I didn't treat him any different than anybody else. I treated those 7, 8 people that all went through the line. I treated them all the same.
That's really cool.
But I'll never forget, just on that thing. And I wish I knew then like some of the stories I know now, I could ask them.
Right.
Because you're trying to learn it, but you know, it's like, oh, I should ask him about that. I should ask him about that. Like things like that. So that's the stuff that interests me. So.
Right. No, that's cool. You got even happen. That's it.
Yeah. But just with the bull ring, when we get back to the bull ring,
Have you seen any races out there before you do
No.
photography? So
No.
it's
The
strictly
first-
because of like
strictly
Kaylee
the
or
race-
somebody that.
Yeah, strictly of the races. And then what's the guy that passed away before me? We took over his lead, Brian. His last name was Brian. Was the lead guy. So I would just literally last second, I would send Ryan emails. Put me on the list for the bull ring committee. And I tried to make. I didn't get to every race, but 'cause I didn't know. You know, get kids and you never know what's going on. So this last season, we said, no guys, I'm going to really try to get to as many races as I can to get as many stories as I can. Because I haven't even, there's so many pits that I haven't even made it to get their stories.
Yes, now when you're saying you
Just
get
follow
stories,
up.
so you're out there, you're taking pictures, but you're also getting stories.
I'm getting the
behind
story, behind the
pictures.
scenes, like,
I mean, what are you doing with them? Are you publishing them? Are you
not
just,
yet.
just
I do a
holding on to
little bit.
them
I
right
hold
now?
on to them. I
Okay.
have the stories, and I do
And this is
publish
where
them on Rock
we're-
Street Racing.
okay, but
yeah.
this is where Dual Street Publishing
This
is
is
going
for
to be
Dual
coming in.
Street.
Is you're going to be coming up and
Yeah, and
probably
we
putting
can
something
put,
together.
We can put it all together
So,
and do like
so
that.
watch your P's and Q's when
Yeah.
you're talking to Rob out there.
Well, one of the stories I did publish was for Let's Talk Racing. Was back east was when I got to spend the morning with Leonard Wood.
Wow.
And I got to spend the whole cup line. I got to spend about 3 hours with him cruising around the pits. And what I did is I just walked with him, and each time that he went over to different pits, I wouldn't necessarily know who everybody was, but I tried to really just get a picture with him with the fan, him with whatever, and I got this one picture, I took the picture, and, Brian DeWitt. So what happened was, it's like, I get a picture, and it's, okay picture, you know, because I'm not thinking of it, and I asked somebody in the pits, I said, well, who's that? He said, that's Tony Stewart's dad.
Oh.
Well, I gotta get a better picture.
Hold
now.
on, let me get that correct.
So then I'm going over to Leonard, and I'm like, no, you guys gotta stand. He was in the shade. I gotta move you over here. And Leonard, and he's kind of
Were they like, who the hell are you?
yeah. And his dad is like looking at me like, hey, and Leonard just goes, just follow what he's gonna do. He's not gonna leave his lead. And so I get over and I put that picture. I got him in the right sunlight with Leonard, and then about a month later, I got one of the people that worked with Tony Stewart's thing that said his dad wanted to copy that picture.
Oh, that's
So I sent it through Leonard Wood, through his,
cool.
not something, but related to it. I sent it to her, and she sent it to me.
Wow.
Those little things, I got to meet Richard Petty, I got to go ride in the van. Like when you hear Nancy Reagan died, where were you? Well, I was sitting in the van in between Richard Petty and Leonard Wood, and with Richard Petty's Hall of Fame ring on my hand while I was.
Were you trying to steal it? What were
Oh
you
yeah, I
doing?
was like, it was huge. It was huge, but they were the nicest guys. They were just, and so we went up on stage. He would turn a certain
Where was
way.
this at?
This is at
out
the
here?
cup race. This
Okay,
is at the
out
cup
here in
race,
Vegas.
and they went out for the fan fest, and they were talking at the fan fest, and you know, it's Richard Petty. He just knows. He knows how to treat people. And so, like, when a lot of times we're trying to get a good angle of a picture, somebody will turn the wrong way, he turns the half step that you need to get the perfect picture. You know, and he just did it naturally. You know he's doing it on purpose because you have to.
He knows.
You
He's
have
just,
to know, and he turned this way. A lot of people will, turn, just out of just to ruin the picture. It won't be perfect.
Wow.
But that was.
That's really cool.
That's it's all about the people.
So, so at that point, out here in Vegas, what do you think of this track compared to some of the other ones that you've been to?
I haven't been to too many of the other ones. I would love to go to Martinsville. I think Martinsville is number one on my list, along with Darlington. There's 1 and 2. Everybody's talked about Bristol, but the way they repaved it and everything is a little bit different. But I think being on the media side of it, I think Bristol's still going to be in my top 3. It used to be number 1 until I realized when I talked to people that actually have been out to Martinsville, they said,
Martinsville. That's the place.
that's the place to go if you want to see great racing. you know,
Right,
out there.
right.
And you know, action shots.
So out here in the pits at Vegas, of course, you've been out there quite a few times
Mm-hmm.
now, and I met just about everybody out there, I would think, by now.
I think so, but every time I go, it seems like I meet somebody new.
Anybody you don't pits you want to stay away from?
No, actually, I
gotta ask.
brought-
You know, I know you're not gonna tell me, but
I
gotta
told you they hate
I
you.
know. Actually, I brought that pit scooter just so I could make it out to you guys out in
Way
North
out
40,
there, right?
way out there on the North 40, so I can make it back in time to actually do some work. But you guys are pretty close because when I go out on the track, I'll leave out the scooter right there. I'll go up on the track and make my way back there. I always try to make sure that whether or not you guys are out there. I even rode out there last Saturday. I didn't think you guys were going to be out there, but I went to rode over there just in case, just to see.
You had mentioned to me when you had first come out that you enjoy taking pictures of people that don't know their picture are being taken.
Mhm.
You do your staged and you know, I mean the proper that you look to produce, but you had said you enjoy catching people that don't know. You had gotten 2 shots of me that I didn't even know you took.
He
I
uses
mean,
those-
not stage.
He uses those to blackmail people.
Yeah, and like I said, I never publish a picture that I'm not.
You know,
So
I mean, you just say, you just whisper, it's one of your favorite. You like catching
I like to do that.
any of your any shots that you took that you know that comes to mind of catching. I mean, you can do it on the track,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
during the race, but
My most famous shot is that Danica Patrick shot. Is when I kind of go with it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. So like when remember the race 2 years ago when that big windstorm came through, I was out on the track and they're doing driver introductions and a lot of the bullring drivers are the truck drivers out there.
Right.
You know, they drive
Yes.
trucks around.
yeah, Tim, that's something that Tim
did.
incorporated, getting them out there, get
Getting out
free
there to do it.
free passes and
Yeah,
volunteers. Tim
exactly.
started that.
That was great.
We never had that before
and
out
two-
there.
So this is 2 years ago. A big windstorm was about to hit, or was hitting. So I just jumped in the back seat of the truck, you know, the Tundra,
Right.
and she couldn't go all the way up because she, you know, they usually stand up and they wave at the fans.
Right.
Well, she couldn't do that because it was too windy. So I had one-on-one with Danica.
Oh, that's
she
cool.
was down at the window, and I said, "We'll get all our shots we need." And we were just laughing, and I'm like, "Okay, now make." And I just everybody, I do it to you, I do it to you.
Yeah,
I put you what my background I want to be. So I had the American flags flying, and I'm like, "You need to move this way." Okay, and she did it, and she made those, and I got my shots in the back of the truck, which you can find on Rob Street Racing if you did that, you know, a couple of years ago on the Facebook page. You can find those pictures even on Instagram. But when we got out of the truck, we both jumped out and it was super windy, and then PRN comes up to do the interview. Well, he sticks the microphone, he tried to block the wind for her. He sticks the microphone in her face, and right at that moment, the wind picked up, took her ponytail, shot it into the air. So it looked like he was holding a blow dryer to her face on the thing. I got that picture.
Really?
That's funny.
And
That's cool.
yeah, so I go back upstairs and I can download just directly to my stuff with the Wi-Fi through the camera. So I'm upstairs downloading it, and Motorsports Network saw the pictures. Use that, and the USA Today. Use that.
That's
yeah,
cool.
just give me credit. Just So then that one went national before I even made it downstairs, back to the
Wow.
thing. So then PRN, because it was a PRN guy that did it, he actually, when we came back this next year, we were standing in the lunchroom, and I'm get there, you got USA Today, you got the show, and then you got me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I'm just,
You're
I'm
so-
ready with my phone. I'm like, free lunch, I'm just here for my free lunch, on the thing, and I met people, it's like, hey, how you doing? And all of a sudden you hear, hey, it's Mr. Vegas. and like, I turned around to look for Mr. Vegas, and it's like,
Yeah, you're like,
everybody
"Who's
else
Mr.
did."
Vegas?" Right.
And so
Yeah,
what
Wayne
happened
Newton.
was-
Wayne Newton's here?
Yeah,
Why is
exactly.
Wayne Newton?
And he says, well, how do you know him? And he says, well, he got this picture. It's my background on my phone.
Oh, he's
And
got
it's the PRN
That's
guy,
cool.
yeah. And
Sweet.
he actually, it's his Facebook cover page. It's been like that for whole year back in March. And so these little things like that, and that picture went around the media center again,
Oh.
just this
Wow.
last March. So then once you make that connection, so then people that I don't even know me, they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Whereas
Yeah.
before they're just like,
Guess
who's
what?
that?
Right. Who is this?
Guess what? You got fans.
Yeah.
And as a photographer, you need fans.
You need it. You need
You
it.
need fans. These
Yeah.
are the people that are going to hit your sites and
Mhm.
buy from your
And-
sponsors.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to mention. Cindy Clark. I need to help her get sponsors.
Cindy, yeah.
She is
You know,
amazing. Those stories are.
I would say annoying, but what was the word you used?
Annoying.
What if it was,
No, obnoxious.
obnoxious,
is
yeah.
not-
Yeah, if you want somebody no.
Yeah, somebody
That's
No,
her saying
she's-
that, not me.
She's
Yeah, she
as you
yeah.
heard last week, been in the field a long time, and she's a media giant.
Yeah.
Okay, she did it for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay,
And one of my
and she
favorite
knows
pictures.
she knows how to promote herself. She knows how to
does.
promote
That
her
Wonder Woman car looks
business.
so good on the
She-
track. I made a point. She was in a skid car. Nobody looks good in a skid car. She looks good in a skid car. You know, it's like I took that picture and she made it her cover page of that picture. And, you know, all the colors and actually. I was giving Kyle Jackson a really hard time because it's gray monster car. I'm like, when are you gonna paint that
Painted.
thing? Right? When are you gonna paint that
And it is
thing?
painted now, right?
It is painted.
With
It's black.
real lettering on
With
it.
the real lettering with the purple and
Cindy
It looks
could
really good.
Cindy could talk the spots off a leopard, or is it a cheetah? One of them has spots.
One of them has spots.
One of them has spots. That's Cindy Clark.
Yeah.
She's tremendous. Always has been.
And I met her in the media center, and she was one of the people that helped, you know, to guide you where to go to in the media center. Back when I first went up there, even on the truck race back in 2013, I didn't know where.
And that was here at Vegas.
And that was her. That was here, yeah. That was up here, and met her, and then I didn't know she raced. I didn't know, you know, but I knew this last year or so.
Wow.
'Cause I, you know, but nothing like I found out this last year.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's what
Well,
I'm sure it's
exactly.
amazing.
I mean, speaking of that, I will throw it out there. You go to onwheelsnow.com, click on the On Wheels Now blue link, and that'll take you to any of the archives. You can catch Rob Street, you know, later on if you want to look back. Cindy Clark, any of the past shows. There's over 200 of them on there. Look for them. Also, obviously, we have Rob Street in the studio here with us tonight. Rob Street Racing Photography.com. We're going to check that out. And you got free photos or things like that, or information they can get on there?
Anytime when I put it on the Rob Street Racing Photography Facebook page, that's me saying, hey, you can use that.
Okay.
You know, on this thing. And I'd say about 30 different race teams use their for their hero clubs.
Now, when you go around and take pictures at the track and you give your information to the drivers, what's the procedure for them to want to get a hold of you and
They can
get
do
these
everything
pictures?
through Facebook. It's the
Facebook's the
easiest
best way.
It's just
Okay.
the easiest way these days. You know, they send me a message, and that's how Gary.
And then do you have a package you can get to them, or is it just kind of
you can
casual?
kind of see. It's just
Okay.
kind of casual. You can kind of see it's whatever you want. You know, and I don't do too much sales out there. I'm not out there to do
Okay.
sales. I'm out there as media and doing for my content on there. And if there's something they like on there, sometimes I'll get it. Hey, you got a picture of this, Johnson 17. Oh, let me go look because I'm gonna post everything. I'll look for the best shot of that super stuff, you know,
Right.
of the 17, and I'll put it on there. Use that for different things. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Trickles. The Trickles really took me in. You know,
Really?
I'm just kind of disappointed that they're not out there this
Yeah,
much
me too.
this
I mean,
year.
Trickle's obviously an
Hopefully,
icon of the track for
yeah.
years.
And what's really neat is I went out there for a family. They invited me out for a family get together. I did pictures for them on 4th of July. You know, so they had Michael Miller, he's really good, just like Justin. He can get people. He knows everybody. I just, hey, who's this? Who's this? They didn't have it on the list. Who's this guy? You know, who's in this car this week? You know, and Michael Miller can tell me. And so Cole and Chuck gave me Chris had given me his fire suit as a gift last season. And for everything that I did for him, all the photos I did, he had blown out his fire suit. black and orange one.
Right.
And
Kind of probably a triple A.
the triple layer. Yeah, I was gonna wear it this last. I actually fitted it. I wore it on there, but to get in the bandolero was a little tight. Yeah, with it was a little thick for it. So I ended up with Mark Skinner and actually got me one of the Richard Petty experience ones that I wore for actual racing. But what they did is they after I did it, they said, "Oh, we got some things for your man cave." Because I always got little things, card, the hero cards. When somebody does a hero card, all I ask them is say, "Send me a hero card." I'll make a album for it later, on the thing. But right now, it's up in my man cave. And they gave me Big Chris's Rookie of the Year plaque.
Wow.
And then they gave me his championship plaque for 2004. No, 1990.
Yeah.
1990s. So I think it was 1992 was the rookie one. And I never met Big Chris. Big Chris had already passed. So that really meant a lot to me, that chatting with Chris and Cole and Barbara and everybody in the family just kind of took me in. And it's like, when I'm out there, even when they're out there, it's like, you got something to drink? Are you okay? You gotta come eat with us after we're done.
Have they been racing somewhere else?
No, not right now.
Just
They've got, but I did hear they're on hiatus right now. I know Michael Miller's working with Aaron McMoran. McMoran, I'd say it's wrong. But Aaron, I would say he is an amazing driver. He's really, really good. I mean, I've seen a lot of different drivers.
I've seen some pictures that probably from you, but it looks like he might be putting on a little weight. I see that dad bod starting to happen to him. So.
The bomber bod?
Yeah, that's the bomber bod, yeah.
So,
yeah, you said it, not me.
But Michael Miller was out there working. I saw him this weekend working on both the modified and the bomber.
Cool.
I think the championship for the modified is this weekend.
It is.
So,
it's kind of,
and it's going to be close because I think it's within 5 points.
4 or 5 points.
4 or 5
Yeah,
points.
4
So
point
that's gonna
difference between Aaron and Doug Ham. Right?
Doug Ham.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Doug
that's
win.
tough.
Doug won this last.
It's 4
Yeah,
points.
4 points.
This is the final race. This is going to decide.
This is going to decide.
Who's the Grand American
Depends on where they
Modified
start
Championship.
and where they finish.
And where they finish. So that's going to be fun. I'll be out there. I'll definitely be out there for the championship.
There's something I want to bring up, that touched me and touched a lot of people out at the bull ring. Just to exemplify Rob's heart and Rob Street's big heart. Approximately 5 months ago, I'm gonna ask everybody, you got to check out Rob Street's video, The Bull Ring Waves to Walterman. Rob went around the pits and must have taken 30, 40 pictures of drivers, LVMS staff, and what we're talking about is Chris Walterman 5 months ago was waiting on a heart transplant, which he did receive.
He did receive. I knew he couldn't make it out to that first race, so I knew that he was going to be vulnerable.
Chris Walterman is the voice out there of the bull ring since you come along in end of 2014, 15. This video, I mean, we have not had a photographer out there to do something like that. Maybe I missed something.
Right.
I stepped out a couple of years, but as long as I've been out there, I've never seen this, and the camaraderie which Rob hit, and the family, and the pictures. For those listening, you've got to go hit YouTube, Bull Ring Waves to Walterman, and that was an absolutely fantastic.
JJ, just look for JJ's picture. YouTube fixed that. Pick that. They said, look at this handsome man.
But we didn't
Yeah, that
touch
was a great
on
idea
it.
too, by the way.
There was one thing that I did think about, and I wanted to make sure everybody, all listeners, knew what you put together
That
for
was
Chris
strictly
Walterman. That was you.
Yeah, by you.
That was solely you. And I give you all the credit in the world. And
I'm just glad
like I
he's doing
said,
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Really, that's always good news.
Yeah.
You
Just
know.
to hear the outcomes.
yeah. So maybe just that video,
Maybe they'll play
make
it
the
at
turn,
championship.
the turn,
Banquet.
Banquet. I've never been to the banquet.
turn of
Are you
events.
going this year?
I'm planning on it. I was going to bring my wife.
You're allowed
because-
to now because you actually got into a race.
I got
Now,
into the race,
Hey,
yeah.
hey, let's talk about that real quick. So,
Okay.
so now, how did all that come about?
Okay,
What started all that? That's got to be
it
a
was just
crazy
kinda-
story.
I was with where I park. is basically right next to the fence where you kind of go into the media center. And I've always parked right there, and that's where Mark Skinner, Chuck DiGavera, his whole fleet of bandoleros and super stocks and the bomber with everybody out there. And jokingly, I kept saying the last 2 years, I gotta get in one of those. And, what was the 30? Who tried the 31 bomber?
Mazarin.
Cody Mazarin.
Cody drives it, and then Tim's out there with Chuck all the time. And he said, "Wait, why don't you get in this?" And I said, "Oh, no. That bandolero looks fun."
You sure they didn't? It wasn't the other way. They didn't want you in the full size car. They want you in the little car. No?
Exactly. So just jokingly, I just kept saying, "Man, one of these days, you know, I want to get in that bandolero." And then before the break, right before the break, I pulled up, and we were getting ready to go up to the media center, and I heard Chuck, "Rob, get over here." You know, and that's all it is. All right. And then everybody else was carrying all this stuff upstairs, and they're like, you know. And so they come back downstairs with the second load, and they see me getting into the seat, and he was measuring me for the seat where he needed to build it, and I was like, "I can raise the bandolero." And so then we had what, it was a 7-week break on
Right.
there.
Okay, so this was just before that break.
That was the
The
race,
first
right
race
before the break.
before the break, okay.
So he sends me a message on Facebook and says, "One day, can you come over?" I said, "Oh, I come over Saturday." So I'm thinking you're just going to measure the seat in there.
Right.
And I thought it would be like 15 minutes because literally I knew nothing about racing the car. I take pictures. And so he goes, "No, you're going to be here for a few hours."
Wow.
And so I called the wife and said, "Hey, we're going to be here a little longer than I thought." But I didn't do anything. He's doing all the work, you know, and he was cutting things, the bar out so I can sit lower,
Wow.
measuring the seat.
He
And all I did, literally built the car.
around you.
And the funniest part
Nice.
is when he moved the pedals up from my short little legs, when he moved the pedals up to me, I was
Now,
like, "Okay,
keep in mind, these are little
are you
kids that
full?"
race these
Yeah,
cars.
these cars. Well, diesel. I was raising a Diesel West car.
Okay, okay. That's
Diesel.
a different story.
And I think, and what's funny is I think Diesel won in the car. I did not win in the car.
A little bit of weight difference. I think.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. We'll just say that's what it was.
Yeah, we'll say that's what it was. But Diesel's got talent.
Oh, wow.
So you were sitting in the car the whole time?
So
or
I'm
you
sitting in
was
the
up
car.
on tracks?
Well, it was actually, he had all 4 wheels on there, but he was just doing the inside of it. The back tires might have been off a bit on there. The engine wasn't in it. And so he was just building, taking the pedals up to me. He had to go and keep it going back out to the truck. And he'd go, "Let me try this." And then he goes in and gets one longer pedal, you know, to reach my foot. He's like, "Okay, I'm all the way down now." And then we did the brake and everything. So I'm sitting there, so I started videotaping. He doesn't know I'm videotaping. I'm watching he's working down there, and I'm just going. And I ended up posting that one.
Oh, that's cool.
That one's on YouTube too. It's about a 3 or 4 minute video of him working down there. It's like, I didn't
And you're
know.
just sitting there.
I'm
Okay,
just sitting there.
thanks.
I did absolutely nothing. And so he built the car for me, and so I get there, and so I'm in a different mode this last week. I'm not in photography mode.
You're in the first time in the race car
First time
ever.
in a race car,
Period. Wow.
period.
That is cool, man.
So I get there and I got my suit. Or actually, the first thing I did was go over. I had the other suit on, and I'm trying to get the vehicle in the tent. And I could get into it, but it was just so hot. It was 110 degrees out there, and trying to get in there. And then I went to Mark. I called Mark and said, "Just in case, can you bring an extra fire suit?" He did, and he brought shoes that fit and everything. So I actually was wearing Skinner stuff. And put all that on, and then I went out on Friday, which I thought was practice. So I went out and practiced. I did it first time into 1 and 2. I spun.
Oh, no,
I was like, well, I
oh.
figured I'm gonna go for it,
Did they give you any
and I
coach-
want to see if
anybody-
it's stuck.
Did anybody give you any coaching before that? Hey, you need to do this,
No.
this. They just said
No, just go. Just go.
One of those
Watch
little
the kids. Yeah, follow
Exactly.
the kids.
Follow
Did
the
one of
kids.
those little 9 and 10-year-old kids come give you advice on what to do or not to do?
Well, you know the Cunninghams and the Larsons and all that. They give advice and, a little bit like stay out of my way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just don't. Yeah.
Right, don't
I
run-
just
don't
don't
run
run
over us.
And that was my whole thing the whole time. I'm like, I'm not out there racing for a championship. I'm just holding my line and I won't mess with your race, you know. And so I said, I wonder if this will stick. And I go into 2 and I spun out And well, didn't stick
Didn't
there.
stick, so I can't
So
do
then,
that.
so then I because they kept saying you don't need to lift.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I guess you need to lift a little bit,
A
you know,
little bit,
on the
right.
thing, but I knew not to hit the brake. So then I practiced, I got there, you know, and I got around the corners, and I think I was running 22-second laps in my first 3 laps. So then I'm like, okay, cool, I got the thing, and I'm sitting there, you know, just doing pictures again around things, and that's when I found out, oh, qualifying is 5 minutes.
You're like, oh, crap.
So then, yeah, so then I get out there in the race, or in qualifying, and I almost put it in the wall.
Now, this is the first time you're with other cars then.
Oh yeah, this is the first time.
This is group qualifying.
This is group qualifying.
So,
It's the
so
first
you're with
time.
other cars out
cars.
there. Yep.
And
Okay.
my plan was to follow. My plan was to follow Ethan DeCavera because he's in 31.
Sure.
I'm in the 31D.
Indeed, right.
And he takes off, and I got it, and I'm like, he didn't lift through 1 and 2. So I already knew that I'm right. So by the time I came out at 2, he's halfway down, you know. So when he went into 3, I'm just, you know, he was coming out of 3, I'm going into 3. So, but I did pick up a full second on that.
Wow.
On that one, so I think I qualified 4th. So it wasn't too bad, you know. But I didn't know how many people were out there.
Sure.
Who was doing it. And then road racing tonight. Okay, and I'm just like, okay, don't crash this car.
Wow.
I'm off 10 grand to pay for this car. I don't have the money to pay for this right now. So then I raced that night, and then I'm glad I did because Saturday I did a lot better.
So what was your feeling like?
Oh,
Saturday
it's
night,
tremendous.
you're ready for the
Saturday-
race. You're like, oh man, this is. You got a
Yeah.
crowd up
I got
there,
the
spectator. You probably got friends and
yeah, I had
family
some
there.
friends out
Okay.
there, and my wife couldn't make it out only
Okay.
because it was so hot.
Right.
And it's a little red, just really hot. So I did have some friends in the stands, and I said, I'm just gonna hold my line. That's it. My whole
What
thing.
was, I mean, like me and Jay talked about some of the most exciting times. Just get up there in lineup
And you drop in.
right into the
Oh,
track,
yeah.
and then
It's
the
really-
track is right there. You know.
You could, and it was really funny because you're racing at night. Qualifying was hard because it was sunny, but I'm trying to keep the mask up because it's dark, and so like I know when I got into 3 and 4 too hard because the mask would come down.
No,
I was like,
it's
I come back out.
That's the sign I'm
That's-
getting in too hard. The mask can't.
Right, the face shield comes down.
The face shield comes down. It's like,
Okay,
okay,
you can lift.
I can't drive it in that hard. I gotta drive through a little bit lighter.
It sounds like these guys, they're racing the bombers.
So then I just tried to race. My race was really, I wasn't racing anybody. I was racing the track and seeing how far I could make it before Camden and Matt
Make it back around.
Make it
Stop
back around and
doing-
lap me. And I think it was a 15 lap race, and I'm not positive, but they were telling me they didn't get to me until lap 12 to 13.
You almost made it.
Almost made it. I made it, and it was like I said, I was just trying to hold my line. I was having the grin. You could not get the grin off my face. I didn't care. And actually, I actually was the car. Chuck fixed the setup a little bit since
Right.
the first practice, so the car was sticking. So I was able to hold, 3/4 throttle through the turns on there. And so I was keeping up a lot better in that
Are you going
last
to be
race.
doing any more racing this year?
I don't think so. I mean,
Is that my choice or my?
Yeah.
Maybe you head over to the drag strip, check out a junior drag strip.
Yeah, I saw
They
that.
just go straight.
I saw that NHRA.
They just go
Well,
straight.
we'll talk about that another time. We got 4 lanes coming up there, but we'll
Well,
get
yeah,
to that.
that's right.
I'll be there for
We
that
don't have
too.
enough time, obviously.
Yeah.
So you do the
Well,
drag stuff too, huh?
Well, I did the drag strip for the first time this last
Okay.
with Mike and Diane.
Oh,
They
this is
got
going to be
credentials.
iconic this year
Yeah.
when they open up
When
this
they open
track.
up this
Yeah.
year. So I'm going to the one at the end of this year. They're going to the one at the end of this year, and then we got the Camping World Truck where I'll be at
This year.
and then the opening of the 4 lanes will be next year.
2018.
I hate to say this, we're out of time. Obviously, we don't have never have enough time. We got to have you back, Rob. But I know we got a ton more to talk about. This weekend, you want to go out to the LBMS, go to LBMS.com. Check out the bullring schedule. There's races this weekend. It's college night out, so you want to come out.
Oh, and Noah Gradson.
Noah Gragson's super late model.
Racing
Super late model this
model.
weekend. Go root for him. Kaylee Barker, Johnny Spilotro, all the college kids out there. So they're gonna be out there at the bullring. You can always go to, of course, RobStreetRacingPhotography.com. Check out all his stuff there. And unfortunately, we're out of time. We'll see you next Tuesday live at 6 p.m. at allwheelsnow.com. Thanks, Rob, for being here, man.
Thanks
you.
for coming in for my birthday, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You
Thanks
too.
for coming in, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. They were enough time.
My visor came down.